In September of 1939, Fascist Germany unleashed the Second World War, the most devastating war in the history of mankind. The war began in the center of Europe, but gradually 60 countries became involved in it. Austria, Czechoslovakia, Albania, Poland, Denmark, Norway, the Netherlands, Luxembourg, Yugoslavia, Greece, Belgium, all of them ceased to exist as independent states. France was defeated. An invasion of the British Isles was being prepared. The leader of German fascism, Hitler, proclaimed, "I liberate the German people from the humiliating moral category called conscience." The economy of almost the whole of Europe was working for Hitler's war machine. The main obstacle in the way of German imperialism's conquest of the world was the Soviet Union. On June 22, 1941, fascist Germany attacked the USSR. Heroic exploit, dedicated to the 30th anniversary of the Soviet people's victory in the Second World War. The attack was a treacherous one, without any declaration of war. This put the armed forces of the Soviet Union in an extremely difficult position. However, the fascist hordes encountered resistance they had never met before. Soviet soldiers fought heroically to their last drop of blood, to their last bullet. Even so, the enemy's superiority in strength was formidable at the beginning. Following an appeal of the Communist Party, the entire Soviet nation rose up in the Great Patriotic War against fascist Germany. The sons and daughters of all nationalities joined the ranks of the defenders of the homeland. The Soviet-German front immediately became the main and decisive front in the Second World War. Day and night, pitched battles were being fought along several thousands of kilometers from the Baltic Sea to the Black Sea. Battles raged near Kiev and Smolensk. The Soviet Army's courageous defense of Brest, Odessa, Sevastopol, Kerch, Novorossiysk, Leningrad caused the German Wehrmacht tremendous losses. Under the leadership of the Communist Party, the country was transformed into one big military camp. Workers, farmers, intellectuals, party members, and non-party members joined the guerrillas to fight behind enemy lines. The Hitlerites were compelled to send regular troops to fight the guerrillas. The Soviet Union had to reorganize its entire economy in the shortest possible time because of the war. From the western regions, thousands of factories and plants were evacuated deep into the interior, to the Urals and Siberia. The Communist Party's appeal, "Everything for the front, everything for victory," became the watchword for the whole nation. Hitlerites managed to seize a considerable part of the Soviet land and emerged on the approaches to Moscow. In fact, the enemy was on the capital's very threshold. And it was then, on November the 7th, 1941, that the traditional military parade took place on Moscow's Red Square. The participants were addressed by the Supreme Commander-in-Chief, Joseph Stalin. Comrade Red Army men and Red Navy men, commanders and political workers, men and women guerrillas. The entire world looks upon you as a force capable of destroying the marauding hordes of the German invaders. All the peoples of Europe who have fallen temporarily under the yoke of German tyranny look upon you as their liberators. A great liberatory mission is your lot. Be worthy of that mission. In the beginning of December, the Soviet army launched an offensive and drove back the enemy 150 and 200 kilometers from the capital. The defeat on the approaches to Moscow was the first major defeat suffered by the Wehrmacht in the Second World War.